it's a skillful, sophisticated job. If it's made by primitive people, it's absolutely amazing. Because the standard of workmanship is absolutely first class. It must have taken anybody who made this a very considerable length of time, even if he were using modern diamond tools and every modern device that was available to him.
The most likely source for quarrying such a large and immaculate block of crystal would be Brazil. But where and when it was worked are pure guesswork.
Whether it was worked in Honduras or Mexico, or whether it was worked in Europe or Japan or China, I wouldn't care to say. I just wouldn't. In terms of mystery concerning their origins, I think it's likely to remain a mystery for a very long time. I mean, the probability is that the material came from Brazil, and it came from Brazil probably post-1700, sometime like that.
But Alan Jobbins' theory is one with which Anna Mitchell-Hedges totally disagrees.
The skull was made long before that, about 3,600 years ago. This is what the Maya people told us. I lived 7 years with the Maya people as a child, and I lived and ate and slept the same way they slept on the earth. And once you live with people who are so down to nature, you got to believe them.
Iron Age hill fort of Tapo North, more than 1,800 feet up in the hills of Aberdeenshire. Ian Ralston is one of countless archaeologists who have climbed to this cold summit, seeking to explain why the fort's high walls are built not of loose stones, but strangely of melted rock. Rock that will melt only at furnace heat, more than 1,000 degrees centigrade.
It's absolutely solid. In places one can kick it, it won't disintegrate. It's as if it's cemented together. In fact, what appears to have happened is that at some stage, presumably with great heat, the rocks have melted, or at least partly melted. And here, for example, we can see one bit where the rock has gone really glassy. It's been absolutely molten here.
Ian Ralston, in an ambitious attempt to crack the mystery, decided to build his own Iron Age fort.
The idea here is that we hope to reconstruct what one of these walls looked like before it was vitrified. We know that these walls must contain considerable quantities of large timber beams. These have been recorded, and sometimes they also turn up on the forts that have been vitrified.
Professional dry stone wallers toiled for days to build the wall of rocks laced with timber. For the wall itself to catch fire, tons of loose timber must have been stacked against the face.
This, as regards authenticity, I think is a very good attempt at one of these walls. Of course, the main thing is it's only part of the circuit of a defence. We've only built something like 6 or 8 metres in length. So it's a part model, but that part, I think, is fairly accurate.
Lovely. Within minutes of the fire being lit, the wood stacked on the outside is well alight. Within an hour, the framework of wooden beams has caught fire, carrying the flames to the heart of the wall. It is here in the center that enough heat may build up to melt the stones. Outside, they are already beginning to crack. After several hours and many tons of wood, a load of old furniture has to be commandeered from the local dustman. It is the only way to keep the temperature up. Later, yet another consignment of wood, the 6th of the day, arrives to keep the fires burning. As night falls over Aberdeen, weary helpers begin to realize the true extent of the mystery of the vitrified forts. To wonder not only how the fort builders could achieve the searing temperatures needed to melt the rock, but how they managed to drag vast quantities of wood up to the hilltops with only primitive transport. The morning after, and deep inside the wall, the fort is still burning. "22 hours after the fire was first lit, it's time to demolish the wall and see whether the stones at its core have melted. At first sight, the result looks disappointing. There are no ramparts of fused stone. The search is now on for evidence that any rocks have melted.
Yeah, that's it. The rock here has melted completely. Look, it's bubbled on one side. Great. God, it's hot. Oh, there's some more here.
This experiment suggests it would have taken half the trees in Scotland to vitrify all the forts. So we only deepen the mystery. Such things as the crystal skull and vitrified forts are intriguing and puzzling, but they don't shake our preconceived ideas about history. Yet there are other artifacts which do just that, if they are what they seem to be.
This man, Dr. Arne Egebrecht, director of a West German museum, has no doubt at all that there is at least one astonishing example of ancient technology which is 2,000 years ahead of its time. He found it in an exhibition of treasures from ancient Iraq: a pottery jar, a copper cylinder, and an iron rod discovered in